Good mythical afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mr. Ayala with 12.3, Oregon and the Mexican-American War Condensed. So, let's get started with our objectives. You'll be able to identify President Polk's major political objectives. You'll be able to identify how the United States annexed Oregon. And you'll be able to identify the causes, course, and consequences of the Mexican-American War. So to start off, let's start off with President James K. Polk. He will focus on acquiring new U.S. territory. Literally, he gets elected and he goes, I'm going to get land and then I'm out. And he does exactly that. He's a president who keeps his promise. So the first issue was Oregon country. So this was the last major conflict or issue between the United States and Britain at this time was what to do with Oregon country. If my mouse will ever appear. There it is. So, right here, this is all of Oregon country. And some people in the United States were like, let's get the whole thing, 54-40 or fight. But Polk was like, I don't really want to have a war with Britain. Mexico may be a better idea. So let's do this. Let's just split it at the same treaty line of 1818. And I get the bottom half for the United States, and the northern half goes to British Canada. And that's what happens in 1846. We split it right in half at the 49th parallel. Easy peasy. So, let's go to the Mexican-American War. So, what happens is James K. Polk tries to buy Texas, Alta California, and New Mexico from the Mexican government. Mexico's like, no, you can't buy half of my country. So in 1845, he allows Texas to join the United States as a slave state. But there's still that border dispute. The United States and what is now the state of Texas says the border's the Rio Grande, while the Mexican government says it's Nueces. So Polk knows he can win this war against Mexico. He already knows that. He just has to make sure that it looks like Mexico started the war, not the United States. He's trying to goad them into a war. So what President Polk does is he puts American troops on this side of the Rio Grande. So from Mexico's perspective, it looks like we invaded their land. So they come in and attack us. From our perspective, we're just chilling on our side of the border. And they're randomly attacking us for no reason and invading our land. So, war between the United States and Mexico. So, at the beginning of 1846, United States General Stephen Kearny is sent to capture New Mexico and Alta California. Alta California is now what we call California. In 1846, he captures New Mexico without even shooting once. More or less, a deal is made that the Mexican residents will be able to keep their land, they will be able to become U.S. citizens, and that the United States will not force a national language of English upon them and hold elections in multiple languages. Sounds like a good deal. New Mexico stays, literally just becomes part of the United States. Then, meanwhile, in Alta California, John C. Fremont, who's an American, is going to lead a rebellion against the Mexican government known as the Bear Flag Revolt in 1846. And by the time Kearny makes it there at the beginning of 1847, Fremont has control of the majority of California and combines his forces with Kearny's. And within 6 months, the Americans control all of Alta California, also known as modern-day California. So, we left off with Texas already being annexed by the United States, the disputed territory between Texas and Mexico already in American hands. New Mexico was captured without firing a shot. And Alta California had its own internal rebellion that literally just gave the land over to Kearny when he showed up with American troops. So Polk is going to send General Taylor to secure all of northern Mexico. So to make sure that the Mexican government is unable to bring any more reinforcements from southern Mexico. And he does so by 1847. Meanwhile, General Scott is going to leave New Orleans, and he's going to land on the coast of southern Mexico, right by the capital, Mexico City, and will capture the capital of Mexico in 1847 and secure southern Mexico. More or less, All of Mexico, other than the Yucatan, is controlled by the United States at this time. There's little bands here and there of Mexican troops fighting, but the Mexican government understands that they have to sue for peace. In February of 1848, the Mexican government will sue for peace and will sign the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo with the United States. This will end the Mexican-American War. The Rio Grande will become the border between Mexico and the United States even to this day. The United States receives disputed land from Texas. New Mexico will be split into two territories, New Mexico and Utah. And then Alta California will later become the state of California. Later in 1853, the Gadsden Purchase, where the United States will pay Mexico $10 million for a small portion of what will later become part of Arizona and New Mexico. And this more or less will be us completing Manifest Destiny. The United States will now own all the land from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean and will begin to, quote, civilize, unquote, the lands in between. So, until next time, don't forget to be awesome.